I want to start way back at the very beginning. I'm a fan of what you do. I've been open about this on social media. Anytime I get a chance to talk and gush about my favorite superstar in NXT right now, it's Karrion Kross. You had a hell of a journey to get to NXT. How did this all come to be? What made you decide that sports entertainment was the path you were going to follow in your life?
I've always been very obsessive with anything that I've wanted to do. So, when I took a job, I had a job, whether it was blue collar or white collar or whatever it was, bodyguarding. I wanted to be really good at this job. I wanted to be the best at this job. And you just come to find that in life, money isn't everything. And I had a good life before pro wrestling, before sports entertainment, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I really couldn't figure out what that was. And I don't know, I was just sitting around with my friends one day and they were like, if you could do this all over again, like, what would you do? Like, what did you really want to do with your life? We always have those conversations.
Sure.
Like when you were a kid, what did you want to do when you were a kid? And it was always this. And there was a wrestling school in Las Vegas. And I was like, what's the harm? What's the harm just going and just trying and figure, seeing if that's what I want to do. And I knew right away, the first day I walked in, I was like, it's over. Like, this is going to take over my life. And sure enough, the first month I started training, I was already doing shows. I was there 5-6 days a week. It was Future Stars of Wrestling, FSW school in Las Vegas. It just took over. And and the other thing too is, had I tried to do this any sooner than 27, this would not have worked out because I was out of my mind. I was a really, really, really wild person. I would not have had the emotional stability to do this. So, yeah.
You mentioned having some other jobs in bodyguarding. How did the sort of occupations you had prior to sports entertainment help shape or prepare you for this world? Because as you can now attest, there's no business on earth quite like this business.
Completely. Well, so I was in Toronto, Canada at the time, and I happened to be walking by a bar with my headphones in, and they were throwing somebody out of the bar. I was like 19 years old. And they threw them into me, and I happened to wear all black. I'm a metalhead. Right. So I was wearing black clothes. The bouncers are wearing black. It was a bar. They weren't dressed up very well. It was black T-shirts and black jeans. And this guy got thrown into me, and I turned to him, and I took my headphone out. And this guy was so hammered that he didn't know the difference of a pedestrian and the person working in the bar. So we're all wearing black. And he starts trying to tell me how he's not drunk and he wants me to let him, come back into the bar. And I tried to, in a very diplomatic way, just naturally diffuse the situation. He got violent with me. I had to handle him. And all the door guys are laughing because they're just watching this thing unfold. And the biggest guy came over who was pretty terrifying at the time. Story for another time. He comes up and he's like, "Hey, kid, you want a job?" So I was like, too afraid to even say no at the time. I was looking up at him. He had tattoos all over his face. And I was like, sure, I'll take the job. Sure. So he was like, just come down here tomorrow at 9 p.m. He's like, I saw your footwork. You obviously know what you're doing. You got a good head on your shoulders thing. So I'm killing the guy. So that's just that one night and getting involved with bouncing and bar work at 19, and just being a good human being. And you meet people in the nightlife industry, and that over the years, I went from just being an indoor bouncer to a doorman into getting to know the communities that come out at night. People like your presentation, the way you deal with people, that they talk to you. You get offered bodyguard work, and then down the road, I became like director of nightlife security operations for a few nightclubs in the city of Las Vegas, and that just happened over like a 10-year period. So, and just meeting people, you just naturally network and you find your way into different types of work. So that's kind of how that whole thing happened.
Well, basically what you're telling me is that when it comes time for SummerSlam this year and I need some hookups in Vegas, you're going to be my go-to guy.
That's going to be a long night.
Well, you mentioned your ability to handle yourself even at the age of 19 got you into this whole other underworld of Vegas nightlife. How did you reach that point? You obviously know how to handle yourself. Is this something you've been passionate about prior to entering the business? What kind of training and background do you have as far as that goes?
I came from a service family. Martial arts and sports combat was kind of always part of our family culture. My dad.
Wake up, Dad. Time for a guillotine.
Yeah. Lay down on the floor. I want to show you something. Yeah. So it was like. We had wrestlers in the house. I have a lot of uncles. They all wrestled and boxed. And, my grandfather boxed in the military. So that was just, I just kind of grew up with that stuff being like around. For a very long time when I was little, I kind of thought that was like something everybody did. I had no idea, it's just part of like what was going on. There would be nights, I was born and raised in New York, be nights where like I would go to sleep in my bed, and then I would wake up to the sound of like, it sounded like somebody was grabbing like a massive piece of meat and slamming it on the counter. My father had carried me from my bed to the car without waking me up through the winter. And I would wake up in the gymnasium for 6 a.m. because he was either training or training people. And it was like a guy getting punched in the head with the headgear and the glove making that noise.
Right.
Or like somebody hitting a heavy bag, Public Enemy in the background. Don't believe the hype. Like, welcome to the Terror Dome. It was just crazy. That was my life. I'd wake up there and I like have breakfast in the gym, and there'd be tons of people around me just training and getting warmed up. It was just a different life. So
that's a hell of a morning alarm.
That is incredible. It sounds like you were bred for this, man.
It was crazy. It was a really cool and unique life.
Like what you hear? Catch full episodes of After the Bell on Spotify. Follow us now and never miss an episode.